All right, now we're recording. Welcome to Be Latina's virtual pop-up shop, where we talk to extraordinary small business owners in the Latinx community about their small business, their inspirations, and their aspirations. My name is Gloria Malone, and I'm your host. Today, I'm speaking to the CEO and founder of El Cholos Kids, Daisy. Thank you so much for joining us today, Daisy.
Thank you so much for having me, Gloria. It's really exciting to get to talk to you today.
I agree. I was really excited when I found your Instagram page. Like most people, I spend time scrolling on Instagram, and I happened about your page and was super blown away by the beautiful handbags that you offer. And so could you tell us a little bit more about El Cholos Kids and what type of merchandise you all have?
Well, thank you so much for that. El Cholos Kid, most of what we do is bags made from recycled plastic. They're hand woven in Mexico. I have a weaver and a family of weavers who I work with, and get my designs out there and everything. And right now we're currently trying, and I say we, but surely I mean me. I'm trying to trying to expand into different like textiles and maybe a bit of jewelry, just kind of trying out to see what people like. So over the holidays, I made scarves and bandanas. So that's really exciting. And everything always handmade by artisans. So that's what I love. And that's kind of like the uniqueness of a handmade item is what I love. So it's what I focus on.
I love that. And so when did you first launch El Cholos Kids?
El Cholos Kid, my very first pop-up was in 2008 in LA. And from there it's slowly grown into what it is today. At first, that Cholos Kid was just my way of being able to travel, because I would love going to markets, and I would just buy stuff that I loved at the markets and then come and sell it, and save my money and be like, okay, this I got enough to go somewhere else, because I've always loved to travel and just like see the world. So that's kind of why I started at Cholos Kid, and to not be a hoarder and keep 20,000 handmade you know carvings or whatever that I that I was buying at the time.
Awesome. I love it. So you're like, let me keep myself accountable and also keep myself going so I can keep
Yeah, I mean,
seeing all these beautiful things around the world.
yeah, definitely.
So you said that the bags are made out of recycled plastic. Why was it important to use this material to build the bags?
I've always thought it was a really cool way of using that waste, which is like water bottles and all of that stuff that is turned into the material that is then woven. It is a popular material to work with in southern Mexico. There's a really strong weaving tradition in southern Mexico, and when you get down to Guatemala and all those, like that whole area. But I've always loved those bags because they're very unique. They're very useful. They're just like a useful thing to have, and they're very durable. So it's always something that you can use every day, and it's not nothing's going to happen to it. It's not a precious thing that you have to take care of so much. So that's why I love it. You can just like literally like wash it in the sink and it's going to be fine. You don't have to like worry so much about it. So I think that's what I like. And also obviously just um being able to use a bit more of that waste and do more creative things to with those we with that plastic and all that is still like a cool thing.
Yeah, definitely. I will say, I've again scrolled through the Instagram, scrolled through your store, and the store offers a variety of different colors, and you've got nano, mini, small, medium totes, all these different sizes, and they're all gorgeous in these vibrant colors. So I would say, they're not fragile, but they're definitely precious and they're gorgeous, and they're so, you know I think back to like one of the bags I love the most in the world is my like super sturdy big blue bag from that big brand store that sells furniture in flat pack. I don't know if we can say the name or not. Uh, But it's like El Cholos Kid is like those bags, sturdy, wonderful, easy to clean, but they're like gorgeous, right? Like you're not carrying this like huge flimsy black blue bag around. You're holding something that's like beautiful. It was made by traditional weavers. It was made in Mexico, handmade. Um, and so, sorry, this is your interview, but I just wanted to put that out there.
No, thank you so much. No, yeah, you're right. I love those bags as well. And when I would first start, if I had like a pop-up or something and people, because sometimes people will buy a bag at a pop-up and still want a bag for the bag, which is funny, but I would even buy some of those, like some of those bags, like the medium size, and then kind of use that if people bought a whole bunch of bags to give to people. So that way everything is reusable, not just
Yeah.
so yeah, and I that's what I tell to people. I like to tell people it's like I didn't invent it. I don't want people to think like, oh, I think that I'm the
Mm,
one who created this. It's a traditional weaving, but you are having like my designs, like the colors, that I pick, and the different quality of the hardware, and like customized
yeah.
everything. So that's kind of like what I love doing, and just working with my weavers, and making them hate me because I'm like, no, no, but this other crazy thing I want you to do, and they still do it, and it's cool. So it's fun to work with weavers and artisans in general.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit more about that, because you do have so many different sizes and colors and shapes and things like that. So where do you draw some of your inspirations from for these different designs?
I love I tend to design for myself, like whatever I want or whatever I think is cool just in my own personal life. So that's why I've come up with like or sometimes to customers were come in. The nano came about because when I would do pop-ups back in the day, I had a lot of like Japanese clients who wanted like the really cutesy like tiny things, and they're like, but can you, and I would have a small, but they were like, no, but can you make like a tiny one? And I'm like, girl,
Not
how small?
pequeño.
Literally, I'm like, girl, how small do we want this? But I do get ideas from my customers
But
from
then
what they.
Lizzo came out with that little tiny bag, and you were like,
Dude,
yeah.
I was like, let me try and get like a tiny mold to like. Can you imagine me hanging out with my weavers and being like, no, just make like the tiniest mold and just like wrap it around.
They would
They
kick
would
you
throw it
out.
at me. Yeah, they would be like, listen, we don't have time for you right now. Leave. And then I'd be like, this is $200. Like, it's limited edition. Here you go.
Exactly, exactly.
So funny. Yeah.
So you've been in business for over 10 years now. Wow, how amazing. It's not my business, but I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
Could you tell us what your most memorable customer experience has been?
It's really random, but I traveled to Dubai a few years ago. And so, you do the tours and like blah, 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 nothing serious. Like, and then you come back. And then I remember, and I know it wasn't like related at all, but still, I came back, and at that point, I got this like really big order, and I didn't really check, but like it had just like an obscene shipping cost. And I was like, like it was a literal like $200 for shipping. And I'm like, I was concerned. I'm like, what is happening? And I looked, and it said, and it was going to Dubai, and like the address said like, oh, like the Sultan's like whatever, like the palace that we had just seen, like a big compound. And I only knew that because we were on a bus on a tour guide, and the guy was like, oh, like this is like this whole compound, we're not allowed to drive on here because that's the compound of like the prince. I don't even whatever remember what it was. So I remember like the address. So when I got that order, I was like, and I still, obviously, I don't know like who it went to or what, but I was like, "Babe, I'm like moving on up. I'm just sending like orders to Dubai, and it's popping, and every time I sell anything, I like to scream, I'm gonna be rich. Someday it's gonna happen. But every order anybody buys, just know I'm screaming, I'm gonna be rich.
We
It's
gonna be
like,
rich. No.
yes.
Wait, okay, but not that like you've got to be a sultan of like an international country for your order to be a big deal, but like that's a really big deal, you know?
Yeah,
Like
that's what I thought. I was like, that is like the most random because like it's not like I have like an advertising. Like, how do people find you? That's kind of like the thing that you start to think of. I was like, how do you? What did you Google? Like, what
yeah,
did you Google to get to me? Because I don't have like a big PR, company or presence or marketing or anything like that. I just kind of word of mouth with me. So I just thought it was like a fun little tidbit of like, oh my gosh, like look at that. I got some like random order to Dubai. That's amazing.
that's amazing. I love it. That's really awesome.
I know. Thank you.
So, Daisy, are you the first business owner in your family, or do you come from a line of business owners?
No, I come from a line of business owners, and I was thinking about that. Just growing up, I was the oldest grandchild. So from when you're Mexican, like as soon as you can move, you gotta help. So since I was a little kid and I was the oldest, like my grandma, she had a restaurant, she had a tortilleria, she had during spring break she would go to the beach and sell food on the beach and all those things, and I helped her in all those places. Like I would sometimes when like white people would come into her restaurant, very rare, but I do remember vividly there was like this white family that came in and she put me, I was like, I don't know, I was maybe first grade, and they had me like translating the menu, and I didn't know how to say things in English. I remember they were asking about what's caldo de res, and I was like, I don't know, it's like a beef stew.
It's
I
beef
literally
water. Beef water.
yeah, yeah, literally afterwards, like now I was like, no, I guess it's not stew. But I was like, stew with vegetables? Like, I don't understand why you're like pressuring me like this. I literally don't know. I don't know
Also,
what
like,
this
can't you see I'm a tiny little human?
is, but that's what it is. Like Mexican parents or grandparents, they never see you're tiny. They see like, don't you go to school? And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But
No
yeah,
te enseñan en la escuela cómo hablar inglés. And I'm like,
I know, like
like not like this.
they have you talking to like the bank when you're 9 and you're like, what do I send you to school for? And you're like, I don't know. I like, sir, can I see about these rates? Like I need to
Yeah.
go.
You don't send me to school to talk about interest rates and mergers and acquisitions. I'm over
Yeah,
here
but
reading Dr. Seuss. Sorry.
yeah, that's literally what it turns into, and you're just like, "Ugh," in a panic. But now look at how strong we are. Look at how strong we are.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you come from a line of small business owners and
Yeah.
hustling since you can maybe see the top of the table at the restaurant, is what I'm
Yeah,
gathering.
yeah, hustling and like waking up. I remember during Christmas we'd have the ladies wouldn't have time to come get their masa for the tamales after work. They would be like honking outside the door, like it would be like 4 in the morning, and there my grandma going. I'm like going with her because I'd help her like weigh. I'd help her weigh the masa and even blend it, which was really dangerous when you think about it, because it's like an actual, I don't know in English what it's called, like an actual molino. It's like it's grinding like the nixtamal to make the masa. I'm like, how did they let me just like with my tiny hands go and like blend the masa? I was like, I have 10 fingers, and I can only thank God for that, because I don't know how that happened. I'm just.
That's amazing. Also, like grandma's masa had to be like the shit. We out here like staging protests at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, she was like, because she always said mine is 100% nixtamal. Other people would mix like the maseca and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know like the maseca is, but yeah, hers was 100% like the maize. So it was popping, and she had her clientele from years and years, and
I
there
love
we were.
I love it. Um, can you tell me? So I was looking at the website and I was like, I love everything. Is there like a bag or a size that customers gravitate towards the most?
Right now, well, it's always my best seller is the mini. I think it's like the perfect everyday bag, to where all your junk fits. It's lightweight, and I also have just like a bunch of colors and all of that. And obviously, The black is always super popular in all sizes, but I think my most popular all-time best-selling bag is my mini multicolor, which is just like a striped bag with just like a ton of colors, that I annoyed my weavers with, because I was like, and then you're gonna weave it three here of pink, and then another three, and it was just like a random array. I sent them like this drawing of just me drawing on my iPad, and then you do this, and then you do this, and they were just like, oh, I guess, but you
Wow.
know.
The patience they must have.
I know, that's what I tell them, but it's like, and it is an annoying bag to weave, because like I said, like they have to count like, you know, 4 columns of this, and then like and it's also a difficult bag, because if you run out, it has so many colors that sometimes, you run out of colors, or they haven't produced the color or whatever, and it's, one of those things where it's like, well, we'll just have this bag with 27 colors we need to make, and don't worry about it.
Wow. So they're equal in patience and in talent. I love it.
Yes, definitely.
So where can consumers, audience members, please don't use that Anto, that was awful. Use this part because I don't know what the fuck I was trying to say. So from here forward, please use this. Okay, I'll try again. So where can we find your mini, nano, tote, large, multicolored, monocolored bags online? Where could people find your business?
Well, you can go to choloskid.com, and that's my store where I have everything on there. And you can find me on Instagram at elcholoskid, where if I don't annoy you, you can see me on my stories, and you can see me rant and rave about whatever issue of the day is happening. So that's me in a nutshell.
I love it. Thank you so much, Daisy, for your time, for your vision with these bags, and for continuing the tradition of sustainable, what we call today sustainable hand making and hand weaving of bags. I really appreciate you speaking with me today.
Thank you so much, Gloria, for your support, and thank you for supporting small businesses with this, with your platform.
Of course. And stop.